Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Saya Dekan Fakultas Seni Rupa dan Desain Institut Seni Indonesia Surakarta sangat mengapresiasi kegiatan SIFA ketiga yang diselenggarakan oleh Fakultas Seni Rupa dan Desain dengan melibatkan kurang lebih 4 negara yang berpartisipasi di dalam kegiatan SIFA ini dan diikuti oleh 11 perguruan tinggi dan kurang lebih ada 100 lebih ya peserta yang mengikuti baik dari dalam negeri maupun dari luar negeri. Kegiatan ini kami harapkan akan terus berkesinambungan ya, sehingga didapat hasil keluaran yang sangat baik untuk peningkatan indikator kinerja utama yang akan menjadi nilai lebih di dalam sebuah perguruan tinggi. Saya berharap kegiatan SIFA ini akan terus berjalan di tahun-tahun kemudian dan diselenggarakan di bulan Juli berkaitan dengan Dies Natalis ISI Surakarta. Terima kasih, semoga sukses. Kami ucapkan terima kasih kepada panitia yang sudah bekerja keras menyelenggarakan event pameran ini di bulan Desember dari tanggal 23 Desember sampai dengan tanggal 30 Desember 2021 baik secara offline maupun secara online.
The artwork represents the idea of positivity despite the super tough condition of the country amid the lockdowns. The painting was made on a white, rough-textured background to represent the walls that sheltered us, with familiar objects scattered around the surface in their own balanced composition. Portrait of my kids, blown-up diagrams of smartphones, scattered children toys, tangled earphones, worn couch, stable food, wrinkled pillow, and high-end gadgets are some of the objects that I see in everyday routine. This work is, in fact, a recalibration of the mind to be grateful, take things positively, and enjoy the new normality and grab the chance to enjoy being home again. In the context of art making, this piece avoids complexity and tries to portray a simpler selection of theme and subject while stressing to be positive, looking forward for the calm after the storm. In this work, the robot character becomes the main subject. This work is inspired by the artist's childhood memory, most of the time when he followed his parents to tap rubber sap. Back then, the artist used to make superhero robots from the fallen rubber seeds by creatively combining materials he got in the rubber forest where the artist's father and mother worked. Bringing back the memory, such creative and unforgettable childhood experience inspires him to create works with a touch of local wisdom. A multidisciplinary artist, Tom Harry, explores sociocultural context by documenting events, objects, spaces, people, and circumstances, the encounters in his daily life environment, translating his thoughts into a journal and rendering his ideas into digital media, sculpture, and installation works. Geometric symbolic patterns carved out or stenciled onto wooden panels are some of his techniques to illustrate episodes of his life in a representational manner. Traditional motifs are then manipulated into digital media, coalescing heritage with technology, creating a temporary language. The work Politicus is a painting that looks at the madness of political power from point of view of the society. The main element of this work is the hand, where the hands become one of the limbs used as a tool to help humans communicate and convey information. In this work, the hand is restated in the form of sign language that means not only to form realistic postures but also gestures that question the oppression, defense of rights, and the position of people or society in the world of politics. The title Politicus, which means politicians, refers to the members of politics from the point of view of the people and at the same time is the real voice of the people in the political world. Kampung refers to a settlement with a population of less than 1,000 people in an area primarily in a rural area that retains a genuine cultural identity, social life, and means of land ownership for its inhabitants. The organizational structure of village management also went well, both between the village head, group leaders, including naib, imam, also village management officers, and others who were side by side with the community to provide a peaceful and prosperous life. Social life in the village is very well maintained. It differs from the life in the city. This work implies a meaning in which perhaps for some people in urban areas are considered to lack knowledge regarding village life and all the hierarchy in it. Each group in such a society has their own characteristics despite they are under the same village governance. Coronavirus disease 2019 is an infectious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. The virus spread across the globe, leading to a continuous epidemic, becoming one of the most fatal epidemics in human history. As of 28 November 2021, more than 261 million confirmed cases have been reported globally, and more than 5 million patients have died. The spread is still ongoing. Many people have become depressed and anxious because of the epidemic. It is for this reason that I created this painting, Piu Piu, the Blue. Blue represents melancholy, which is undeniable. Therefore, this painting uses blue as the background, which also reflects people's melancholy mood about COVID-19. Because of the epidemic, some people lost their families and some people forced to be separated from their families. Various reasons also caused another major problem, that is the recession. Economic recession means that people's income is reduced or no income. Gold and silver color represent the economy and also money. So I used gold and silver to paint some lines in the paintings. I also used copper and green to embellish the painting. These colors and lines account for most of the paintings because I think money is very important to everyone and life without income will become very difficult to survive. There are two mountains below the paintings. In the mountain, many fish eggs, and a fish with a weird appearance, and it can spit out words from the fish. The words spit out by the fish is color. The words with color and the fish make the painting more colorful, and this can be the focus point of the painting. The colorful embroidery words and fish, just like doctors and other frontline personnel. They sacrifice themselves to help us, which is standing on the front line to protect us. In my imaginations, I hope that the epidemic can be eliminated by this weird fish by use the piu piu. The word piu piu is the sound of bullet from gun, well shoot. This work is basically made of mixed media with cornstarch as its main ingredients. The sculpture shows a human figure who seems to be flying on a rocket. This work tells the habits of a glue addict. The habit of the addicts that is inhaling the scent of glue is unhealthy because the very strong smell of glue can cause disorders in the brain, which could be fatal to the mental health of the glue addicts. They would often daydream and feel like they were flying. The spirit of life, something beautiful during bloom and through different phases of human life, flora and fauna. We must learn to appreciate life, eager to take the path of life. Husna explores lighting, fluidity, and passion through her work. The subjects used are popular characters appropriated from the film Alice in Wonderland, but represented through additional melting characters and glowing elements. The artwork was painted in fluorescent paint, thus it will glow in the dark, highlighting the mystery of the character. I chose the latest character design by Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland is to show the passion and the innovation he has crafted. I believe that my method of diluting the subject will convey the message of the spirit of life in the passage of time. The work Only My Value Has Changed Every Year tells about the value of ringgit, the Malaysian currency, which has depreciated since the COVID-19 pandemic. Every year that passes, the price of goods sold by Malaysian markets is increasing, and this work shows that as like a face mask, money is essential to continue living in the current situation. She's Pretty brings the story of self-acceptance and self-awareness. The artist wants to bring forward the idea of feeling confident in our own skin. To not have the perfect face or the perfect hair is okay, and we don't have to change who we are in order to fit in the other people. The artist also feels that to be aware of our own self-image is a vital key of being who we are. To not look like other people is a unique way to stand out amongst others, and it is also a way for us to say that we are beautiful in our own way, and not just by our looks, but beyond that. The use of simple lines and colors and being drawn in a slightly messy way was used as a way to express the thoughts of coming to people as who we are, the real us. This artwork also picked up the inspiration from the song This Is Me from the movie The Greatest Showman. This song was sung by a bearded lady character that had hid away from society because of how she looks. She was laughed at, but in the end, she managed to be confident and to accept herself. We may feel defeated sometimes by people's comments on our physical appearance, but in the end, it is how we carry ourselves through those comments that will help us through. This is what the artist hoped for through the artwork. This work entitled Suka Tak Suka is inspired by the Malay proverb that is, Bagai kera mendapat bunga. This proverb carries the meaning of someone who does not know how to appreciate the giving of others. In this modern age, the nature of not knowing appreciation is still thickening in society. Therefore, the use of the symbols like and dislike has been used in this work. The symbol like means people who like to give, while the symbol dislike means people who do not know how to appreciate. The symbol used is the symbol found on the social site, namely Facebook. The purpose of using this symbol is to make it easier for the audience to understand the social criticism in this work. It can be said that almost everyone knows the symbols used due to the increasing use of social media. The installation work Drop is my work that shows the adaptable nature of the shapeless water subject. It is produced through a series of works consisting of 3 sculptures with randomized shapes that result from falling stones into them. This work is the artist's first attempt to experiment with space to showcase the kinetic sculpture series Drop through installation methods. The context of the work with the use of water subjects is a symbol against no limitations or obstacles to increase creativity in regenerating waste materials as well as being beneficial for society and the environment. The installation location in his house was an alternative location due to some circumstances. The composition of the statue is arranged from right to left as depicting the movement of rocks dropped into the water from the beginning to the bottom. It's an image of the underwater atmosphere in the background with a white cloth hung in a leafy state. The spotlight lamp is used to reflect light on a perforated lens circle hanging from the ceiling. Every time there is fruit season coming around in Malaysia, I always thinking about going back to my grandmother's Gandui place to eat the tropical fruits. She has big fruits orchards. We, the indigenous people, also celebrate the Fruits Season Day, where we pray for spirits of fruits. This artwork represents the heritage and culture of indigenous people in Malaysia, particularly the medium that I used for this artwork. I used the pandanus weaving mat woven by indigenous people, and I painted with acrylic and mangosteen peels. I hope this artwork will create an innovative way how we can use nature as an art form. At the same time, I want to introduce the indigenous culture of appreciating nature as part of human life. Without nature, we won't survive today. The painting is a symbol of self-rebirth after nearly 2 years of complicated situations. The body is like an insect looking up and transforming into a powerful figure. This artwork is about a character figure whose selfies addict in his life. Selfie is the latest lifestyle trend that has a smartphone by taking own photo, and if excessive, it will be ingrained to oneself. Social media is a platform to post selfie photo that can be seen by everyone in order to attract attention to increase the rating of his followers and his status in social media. Selfie on social media that is too obsessed will cause mental illness or mental disorder. Apart from criticism and ridicule media social users, the possibility of slander or the nature of self-pride. Excessive selfie disease can plunge a person into narcissistic illness, which is to feel themselves special, which needs to get the attention of many. In this sculpture, using recycled metal and found objects, we see the character of a figure that refers to a gun in self-portrait style. It's like accusing people but getting hit in the face. as well as selfies that bring slander on social media nowadays. Instead of our selfie first that we do not realize, it is better to be vigilant with safety first before harm strikes to ourselves. Think of past actions for future safety. Pelu Membiru is a painting that introduced the Malaysian identity depicted through a woman figure. The identity is reflected in the hibiscus that becomes the headdress of the woman who wears kebaya, traditional dress. Hibiscus or shoe flower is the national flower of Malaysia, confirmed by the Ministry of Agriculture of Malaysia after the achievement of Independence Day. Another identity presented is ketupat, where the ketupat is called ketupat palas, which is triangular in shape and contains glutinous rice. Besides, baju kebaya nyonya is the traditional dress in the society, especially Baba Nyonya group in the past. They are an existential race among the Chinese community in Malaya, especially in the Malacca Strait settlement, Penang Island, and Singapore. Malaysia is famous for its spicy and greasy food, also bite-sized dessert foods that had become a typical taste for Malaysians. In addition, Malaysian food also has various ethnic types such as Malay, Chinese, Iban, Indian, and many more. Malaysian foods are also various based on the states such as Kelantan, Terengganu, Kedah, Perlis, Sabah, and others. The foods are served on special days of events such as Aidilfitri Day, Chinese Holiday, Thaipusam Day, and other events. Such foods can also express gratitude and joy in welcoming the guests. Inspired by Malaysian signature food, the work is three-dimensional, made of clay and dry sponge. I chose this work because of a deep interest in heritage art and selection of nails as the main material in the production of this work is because the nails are made of steel, copper, or aluminium that are firm, strong, and sharp, even venomous like the strength of a keris. To me, this art of keris making is so delicate, unique, and full of precision because the balance of the keris allows it to stand upright and comfortably be used during the fight. This work is produced with an element of balance and unity, where the nails representing Aswara students arranged and united to form a keris and set the panorama of the rising sun, referring to traditional culture and heritage which is still fresh in the identity of society and needs to be maintained for the reference of future generations in Malaysia. The script contains elements from various proverbs visualized through motion, conversational styles, dialogues, set, intonation, and any related. Characters or actors and young or gambus performers are visualized as characters who will play this script. Devised play is a theater in which the idea of the story and the dialogues in the script are produced within a collective manner from the ideas of actors, directors, writers, crews, etc. While the performance is running, the actor will be chicken-legged, the soles are blackened with charcoal to leave the marks at the play space on stage after the end of the performance. The movements of actor will leave charcoal marks on the baju cloth which is set in the area of the play space. Nostalgia is always there, unconsciously, for every individual who is living their daily life. The experiences they have been through, involving relationship between human, nature, and time, will always be a memory that will be reminisced and become a semi-conscious form of motivation that helps make the journey of an individual's life more meaningful. The use of a subject or object that has nostalgic value is focused as a meeting point of personal nostalgia with society, and at the same time creates a link between nostalgia and human psychology in terms of emotions and perspectives about life. Pahit Manis, which means bitter and sweet, is an installation that aims as the catalyst to the nostalgia of society through a partnership of personal nostalgia that entirely leads to a mental health context that leads to changes in human emotions and psychology. A mark is a result on a surface caused by actions such as shearing, knocking, burning, and a mixture of materials with different characteristics. This marking, which is darkish in color, is a process of experimentation to get effects through soothing technique or fumage, which leaves a dark pattern mark and forms a unique variation of movements. This work is a reflection of the experience and moment, which creates a unique impression from the mark making through the spontaneous process of combining the soot effect movement. The resulting biomorphic form is a monochromic in tones from the effects of soot. The work titled Awal dan Akhir, which means the beginning and the end, carries the meaning of a story journey of a traditional wayang show in Kelantan. The banyan tree is also associated with the symbolization of the world loaded with all lives. It represents life in the water, on earth, and also in the air. Additionally, the banyan tree symbolizes all phenomena that exist in this world. In the wayang kulit performed in Kelantan, this banyan tree will be raised in the middle of the kelir or show screen. The art of wayang is not just an entertainment, but also as a spectacle, as well as a teaching to the audience through symbols that can be seen especially in the process from the beginning, that is when wayang was made, until the end of the show. In addition, this work also reflects human life, which is full of lies. The uncontrolled will and desires are the beginning of the destruction of a nation. The artist describes the current issue in the appearance of a banyan tree as a witness and reflection to the local community. This work shows a mengadap rebab dance performed in a traditional theater show entitled Mak Yung. It is the oldest performance in Malaysia, which still continues until this day. This performance spread to the eastern states of the peninsula, especially Kelantan. This photographic work is to record the movement of the dancer's hands. Each hand's movement in the show has a name or symbol in accordance to the storytelling performed, such as tangan susur sirih or hands taking battle, tangan gajah lambung belalai or hands of elephant over the trunk, tangan burung terbang or hands of flying bird, tangan ular sawah mengorak lingkaran, a snake grinding a circle, tangan seludang menolak mayang, palms of the hands upright facing front, and many others. This shows that most movements are taken from the symbols of flora and fauna. The use of color in this photograph is monochromic, symbolizing the oldest legacy that is still maintained and inherited by the recent generation. The artist of this work also wants to encourage the community as well as the younger generation to love traditional performances that may be lost in response to the advancement of the time. Furthermore, he wants to attract the interest of public to learn and maintain the heritage of traditional theater, Mak Yung. An experiment on how to perform a traditional art performance of Mak Yung by using the concept of light as a medium and smoke as a canvas. Project lighting elements and traditional equipment, smoke and frankincense, aim to create a hybrid combination between two elements based on the factor of the time advancement in such a way Mak Yung presents. A hybrid combination of technology and traditional equipment that produce a semi-abstract visual that influence the characteristics of smoke in this work to realize the harmony of ambient elements present in the music playing. The documentation of this work was compiled in the form of video works to create a more flexible and suitable way of the representation of feeling for the pandemic period. This work is inspired by the nature and the issue of global climate change. The artist used petri dishes as a symbolic homage to nature, with more careful and sensitive observation to it. This work is created to navigate and represent the subtle and fragile, powerful and complex forms of nature as metaphors for the transcendental living and non-living world around us as humans emerge and shape the future of coexistence. The use of 12 petri dishes represents 12 months of the year as time intervals that capture not only the true meaning of space and time, but also the ongoing process of climate change. Fragile is made from easily decomposed natural materials and media such as cotton paper, cotton pads, dried leaves and flowers, as well as recycled materials such as coffee bags. This work was created with a combination of eco-prints techniques, collages, and assembly. Fragile depicts the beauty of nature as well as the reverse reflection of human greed, humans' relationship and responsibility with nature, and the inevitable issue of climate change. The problem of depression has always existed following the circulation of the time, and the therapeutic methods have also been adopted since ancient times, but what distinguishes it is the application and creativity. For this Mula work, the artist used kampong roses, or better known as high-grown roses, that are often found in rural areas and hinterland. This is because these flowers are easy to care and love to grow around the village area. This work reflects the three elements of senses: vision, touch, and smell. Mula work is an interactive work that applies therapeutic elements to the problem of depression. It can indirectly influence mental health by bringing positive changes to emotions and psychology. This work uses the main subject of kuda lumping or lumping horse, a type of Javanese dance that are well known in the Javanese community in Johor as well as in the country of Indonesia. The subject of kuda lumping is raised as an appreciation to the customs and culture that established between two countries. The background is a doodle wrapped in traditional elements of the Malaysian state and also wayang kulit on the body of the horse figure. This work is an experiment between materials and techniques, namely the combination between two different media such as wet media, that is acrylic paint, and dry media such as pen maker and liquid paper. The technique for this work is displayed in the form of stop-motion animation, which is changed to GIF form. The work also features the tail, eyes, and feathers on the head as moving elements that use plasticine to make a better impact on the work. Behind this work, the artist actually wants to re-raise the theme of doodle for heritage, considering that traditional cultural customs are increasingly forgotten. With the concept of such a doodle, he was able to attract the attention of young people because doodle is a recent and interesting art. Therefore, overall, this work is more into an experiment between traditional and recent media, which hopefully can give a new inspiration in visual art. This amazing painting was made using acrylic paint on canvas that depicts how global warming affects the environment. 3/4 of the painting are covered with dry, cracked desert soil, and the rest of it is covered with fertile soil that will soon be taken over by desert land due to global warming. Flying over desert land is a bat that represents global warming. Bats symbolize death and distribution. My work wanders around forms that are present although we do not see them, motifs inherited from others, images that persist in our mind, an aesthetic legacy that remains through time. There is a content in a material condition of painting, in its treatment and color, related to nonverbal communication, intimately linked to the senses, to a more primary state before language communication. My endeavor is aimed at developing work that speaks of painting itself, that elaborates and investigates its own language through forms and white color surfaces.